Please welcome Jason Mitchell. To the show.
Thank you for having me. This is a good-looking crowd. I like
So good to have you here, man.
Thank you, man.
And
It's
you're
great
looking
to be
sharp.
here.
I've never seen you in a suit. You're
You know-
just rolling all dapper.
You know, I watch your show all the time, and I was like, I got to show up.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Welcome to the show. So many people know you from Straight Outta Compton as Eazy. That was one of the most amazing performances people had seen on screen. You played a character who was dynamic because, I mean, on the one hand, Eazy had the gangster life, but he was a human being. You know, he struggled with AIDS, and it was a sensitive character that you played. Was that the moment where everything changed for you after Straight Outta Compton?
Absolutely. For so long, like, I thought I was crazy. You know how, like, should I get a real job? You know what I mean? Like, is this headed down the wrong path? But I always knew I had something really beautiful inside me that I wanted to show to the world. And Eazy-E had so many layers that it just sort of let me unpeel my onion in front of the world, you know? And after watching it and getting that feedback, I was like, you know what? I might be in the right lane. And this might turn out all right, you know? So it
has. Like, your story of getting that gig is really a Cinderella story because you couldn't even afford to fly yourself out for the audition.
Correct. Like, I was at work and they called me back. Like, this was maybe a month after I had sent my tape in, a month and a half. So I didn't even think I was gonna get it. You know, I thought somebody else was, you know, in line for that. So they called me and they're like, yeah, we'd like you to fly to LA tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? You know, because the way my bank account is set up. You know what I'm saying? I can't really just do that, not tomorrow. I mean, unless y'all plan on paying for it, you know, then I got to call off work, and that might mess with my money, you know. So it was so many things, like, fighting against me. And then they called me back, like, 30 minutes later, like, F. Gary Gray, the director, wants to Skype with you.
Right.
And I'm like, say no more. So I go home, like, set up the hard wire, put a satellite dish on top of my house, like, please don't skip. I need this for my life, right? For real, this is the one time I needed not to buffer, right? So, I'm not even gonna pretend like I don't remember how long it was. It was an hour and 17 minutes that we stayed on Skype. We did these.
Wow.
Yeah, we did the same scenes like 5 times, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Just kept going. And I had to do the hospital scene, so I'm like crying, and the butterflies are leaving my stomach, and Gary's just like, breathe, Jason, just breathe, just breathe. So it starts to tickle my stomach a little bit, right? So I just bust out laughing, and I can hear all these voices in the room, but I can only see his face on like screen going, he's good, right? He's good, right? He's good, right? And yeah, and I booked it right there on Skype. Man.
It's an amazing story. I feel like that's something that many critics and directors and fans have noticed about you is you have the ability to portray a character in an authentic manner. You know, you play these strong male characters, but without the toxic masculinity attached a lot of the time. You're not afraid to cry. You're not afraid to show your emotions. Is that something you bring from yourself to each role? Absolutely,
absolutely. Because I think, you know, growing up in New Orleans and growing up as a young man, growing up as a young black man, I always wanted to be the strength. You know, I lost my father when I was 15, never cried about it, because I wanted to, you know, my sister took it really hard. So I wanted to be that guy that everybody could lean on, you know, and I think most men think like that. And in the process of it, we forget to hug each other, we forget to love each other, we forget to say, hey, man, it's all good, you know, and we forget to let the tears out sometimes. But through my work, I've learned that this is very therapeutic. You know what I mean? I'm like crying on set and then bouncing around, and people are like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, well, you know, I feel better now. I let the tears out, now I really feel better. So yeah, man, it's going really good. It's been really, really therapeutic.
I like the idea that you're booking roles so that you can cry about something that happened in your life.
Right, exactly.
You're just like, can I act in this? But it is powerful. You know, I saw you in Detroit. It was a really beautiful story that you know that you acted in. You know, Dee Reese talks about you in Mudbound. What is Mudbound a story about? I mean, I know the loose story, but for those who don't know, what is Mudbound about?
Mudbound is a post-World War II story about 2 families, one white, one black, and it follows their sons. They both go to war and they come home and they find themselves behind enemy lines once they're home.
Right.
And it's my grandfather's story. You know, my grandfather fought in the Korean War. He went to the war and came home and was treated like, you know, just the worst of the black treatment, you know?
Right.
So he kept his mouth shut and became a business owner for 68 years. Shout out to my grandfather for being really great for that. Yeah, and he sent my mom to LSU because all people could do on LSU campus was pick up trash when he was younger. So he was like, I want to send my kids to LSU. So he did, and clearly my mom had me. And then I can now tell my grandfather's story on the big screen.
That's
amazing. So we made a lot of progress in 2 years.
That's
yeah, well, 2 generations. I'm sorry, not 2 years.
Yeah,
took a lot more than that.
You really have made the progress, and I think in a lot of the stories that you're portraying, it's like different sides of life as it is lived by black people in all walks of life, all walks of life, rather.
Right.
When we look at The Shy, this is a story that has blown up. I know on social media alone.
Right.
People loved it. Lena Waithe we had on the show in Chicago. This is a fascinating story because every story in Chicago seems to be about crime. And this is a story that acknowledges the crime in Chicago, but it's not about the crime, it's about the people.
Right. I know they got some Chicago people in the audience right now. Yeah. See, and Chicago has a lot of love. Chicago is a very family-oriented city. I mean, they do food, some of the best, And I think it's misunderstood and misjudged because it's one of the cities that has a real identity. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
So they want people to do things right by them, but at the same time, it's just very misunderstood. So I think with this TV show, you get to see that it's not just senseless killings. It's not just violence. It's not just drugs. It's not just gangs. Sometimes it's people with families. Most times it is people with families.
Right.
And it's just a domino effect. So this story is a story of one bullet changing a bunch of people's lives. You know what I mean? So it's very family oriented, and people really see the story behind some of these just shootings. I never forget when I first went to Chicago the first time. I'm walking past this billboard, and it's like an interactive billboard, and it says 46 people were shot this weekend. And I'm thinking like, wow, why is this not the talk of Chicago? You know what I mean? And it's such a half and half city. It's the most segregated city I think I've ever been to, but it's also very beautiful, And I think the ignorance comes from people not being able to understand each other.
Right.
And this TV show brings the understanding.
When you look at the fact that The Shy is also shot in Chicago, that changes it, because a lot of TV shows, they'll be in Hollywood and they'll say it's somewhere else, or they'll be in Vancouver or Atlanta.
Right.
But you are there shooting the show with the people. There are extras from Chicago. There are actors from Chicago. Common is on it as well as an executive producer. Do you think that adds a level of authenticity to the story that you wouldn't normally have?
Absolutely. I mean, we lose takes, because people are like, easy, out the window, you know what I mean? But they
That's
really,
love.
they really give us a lot of love. And I think it's important for them to see that they're being represented well. You know what I mean? So when you see the movie being shot outside your house, you know what I mean? Or at the person's house next door, that you like, all right, they gonna do good, And they just want us to do the best by them. And they're supporting us the entire time. So it's really good, man. Shooting in Chicago is great.
Is there a role that you see yourself playing? Is there like a dream role that you're aiming for? If you could play any character,
if I could play any character, I think it'd be Louis Armstrong. Or maybe Floyd Mayweather.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's like the complete opposite on each side.
Right.
Yeah. Louis Armstrong or Floyd Mayweather. You know.
You gotta stretch yourself. You know what I mean?
You know what, man? Either way, it's going to be amazing. You're one of my favorite actors. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. The Shy airs Sundays at 10 p.m. on Showtime. Mudbound streaming on Netflix. Jason Mission, everybody.